What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a how-to video on how to wet sand and polish a model car body. So this body that I'm working on right now, there's actually some pivots that was into the clear coat. Now those could be caused by dust or any kind of debris that could get into the body, and you don't really realize it until you're after done clear coating it. So in this case, this happens a lot of times, so it's always going to happen. So but the worst cases is to wet sand it and polish it out. So what I'm doing is I'm going to polish or wet sand those pivots, because this body has no orange peel on it for the entire body. If you do have orange peel, then you do want to wet sand that out as well. That includes if you have orange peel on the entire body, make sure you do wet sand the entire body. But like I said, this body does not have any orange peel. I'm just wet sanding the pivots out because I don't want those in the clear coat, because you can easily see those and stuff. So, but again, so we're going to start off with 1000 grit sandpaper. This is going to be the roughest grit of them all. And then we're going to go ahead and lower it down as well when we get later in the video. So we are using 4 grits. Make sure you use wet sandpaper in case water. Make sure you have bottled water. If you want to, you can go ahead and add a drop or 2 of soap in there to make it more easier to flow with the body, but I don't really do that, but it's optional. So I'm keeping this footage right here real time to show you how long it takes me to do it, because you do want to take this moment and precise as well. So don't go too heavy, only put light pressure down onto the body, because you can easily sand through your clear coat into your color and to your primer coat. So make sure you do put on medium pressure, not hard pressure, just very light pressure, and let the sandpaper do its job. Now the towels that you want to use is microfiber towels, basically towels that you use to dry and polish your real one-to-one car. So right now what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of any water, because you don't want any water, because that way you can see if you got all the pivots out or all the orange peel out. The way you're sanding is it should be a matte, basically the eggshell finish. So if it has an eggshell finish onto it, that means it's good. If there's any kind of clear to it or any kind of shine to it, make sure you get as much as possible. Like I said, I'm only focusing on the pivots area. If you are doing orange peel, get rid of any orange peel. Make sure you have no shine onto the body whatsoever where the orange peel is, and you're good to go. So we're gonna keep it going, and we'll come back when we get to the other grit. Alright, so it's now time for 1500 grit. So first grit was 1000, now it's 1500. Now, with these previous grits, they're going to get higher and higher. The higher the grit is, the more softer and more fine the grit is. So the reason why we're going higher is because we want to get as much scratches as left over from the 1000 grit. Because the 1000 grit sandpaper is pretty rough, and you want that rough so you can get rid of the pivots and orange peel. And now with these other grits, we're going to call it the polishing grits. We're basically just going to polish the body get rid of as many scratches that is left over onto the body. If you don't do this, any kind of grits like that, you are going to have a hard time polishing it out. So make sure you repeat the process and just get rid of all the scratches as possible. So 1500 grit is first. Alright, next up is 2000, again, more finer, and you are just repeating the process on top of the other spots you sanded. So you're just literally sanding over the spots that you sanded before. So nothing new, and just repeat the process again on this one, and then next grit is going to be 2500 grit. That is going to be the finest of them all, and again, that was going to be repeat as well. So you're just sanding on top of the spots you already sanded. So I'll repeat the process, and you're good to go. Alrighty, so with that all set and done and you're good to go, make sure you do look over the body, make sure you didn't miss anything, any orange peel or any pivots. In this case, like I said, I'm looking for pivots and it looks pretty good. So make sure you're good to go and you can move on to the polishing stage, which is next. Alright, so next up is the polishing stage. Now I am using Meguiars polishing compounds. Of course, you can use any kind of polishing compound you prefer. So the first things first, I'm using Scratch X from Meguiars. Scratch X, this is basically going to be polishing. This is going to be like sandpaper as well. What this does, it gets rid of all the remaining scratches that was left over from the 2500 grit sandpaper, because again, sandpaper is still sandpaper, it still has scratches. So what the Scratch X is going to do is going to get rid of all the scratches that is left over from that and all that good stuff. So this is not a polishing compound, it just gets rid of all the remaining scratches from the previous grit. What I'm doing is I'm using a Dremel tool. Now there's two ways you can polish a body. Again, for one, Dremel tool, or by hand by a cloth. Now to do by cloth, it's going to take more effort and so you'll wear your hand down really fast and it's very tiring. So you might as well just save yourself the struggle and the stress is just get a Dremel tool. I am using a Dremel tool that is actually powered by, you plug it into the wall. Of course, you can use an electric one, but this puts a lot of heat to the Dremel tool and you're using it for quite a bit of time. So electric one is not going to be, or the battery power one is not going to be too impressive for this. Make sure you get one that plugs into a wall, you're good to go. So make sure if you are using a Dremel tool, make sure you keep it medium speed. Don't go too high and don't go too low. Too low is not going to do much anything to it. Too high, it's going to put way too much power to it and you are going to risk burning through the clear coat. Medium is way around the speed 3 or 4 for me on this Dremel tool. And make sure you are not keep it in the same area because again, it does create heat and you can easily burn through the clear coat. So make sure you're keeping your hand steady and keep it moving at all times. Don't keep it in one spot at one point. Now, when you think you're done, go ahead and get a cloth and polish it off, get rid of all the excess wax off, and make sure you don't miss anything. If you miss anything, of course, you can touch up at this moment in time. So for the Dremel tool and the polishing sponges that I'm using in this video, everything I am using in this video, I'll leave the link down below in the description box below. So this polishing grit, or this polishing sponge I'm using, which is a green one, this one is for basically scratches. This is what we want to do, is we give it all the scratches. So this is pretty rough. The sponge is kind of hard in some way, but again, that's what you want to get rid of all the scratches. Now when we move on to the next grit, we're going to go ahead and switch my sponge to a much more softer one, as we give it the polishing compound one. So again, everything will be linked down below as well. And like I said, we just touch up some of those spots. Again, you will miss some spots here and there, so not too big a deal. We're just going to touch up right now, and then we move on to the rest of the body. So during this step, you might notice some fogging still. There might be some fogs onto the crackle as well. We're not going to worry about that right now, because like I said, this scratch axe, we're just worrying about getting rid of all the scratches that is into the crackle. In the video, it actually does look really good in person. It does look really good after this stage, because there wasn't really much fogging. But if you do witness any fogging that is on the body, don't worry about that, because our next polishing compound is going to solve that whatsoever. So don't worry about that. Just get rid of all scratches as possible. Alright, so I am going to show you the hood, because you can actually see the hood a little bit easier than on the side of the car. So right now we're going to go ahead and put on the compound on there. We're going to get my Dremel tool. I'm not going to turn it on right now. We're just going to spread it around while it's off, because if you turn it on, it's going to basically splatter compound everywhere, and this stuff is a mess, and it does not come off easily. If it dries, it's basically like clear coat. When it dries, and you're gonna have fun, heck of a time getting it off. So make sure you do take precautions when you do use a Dremel tool, because it can flick the polishing compound everywhere. So make sure you have a little bit as possible onto your sponge. If you can, start it onto a cloth where it spins out onto your towel first. You could do that, or make sure you have very little onto the sponge and start it onto the body. But again, if this stuff spreads out, make sure you clean it up as fast as possible, because when it dries, and you're going to have a heck of a time getting it off everything. Alrighty, so we'll go over the body, make sure you didn't miss anything, you're good to go. And right now we're going to go ahead and switch our sponge out. So the blue sponge, this is going to be basically the ultimate compound sponge. And that's what's next, the Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. Now what this does, it gives with any kind of fogging that could be onto your body. So like I mentioned, if you have any fogging that's on your body left over from the Scratch Axe, don't worry about it, because this compound is going to solve everything. This doesn't give it any kind of fogging or any kind of debris is onto your body, and it's going to give it as possible. And basically what this is going to do is going to bring back the shine whatsoever. So we're going to do basically the same exact steps as the Scratch Axe. Put it onto the body, spread it around, and make sure you do spread it around your Dremel tool if you're using a Dremel tool, or of course use your towel. And basically the same process as this, Scratch Axe. We're going to put it on there very lightly, spread it around, and go very easily onto your Dremel tool. Again, don't stay in one area too fast or too long, because you can create heat and burn through your clear coat. You do check over the body thoroughly, make sure you didn't miss anything, make sure there's no fogginess or anything like that. If it looks good, and we're on to our last step, which is the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish. Now what I do for this, you can use your Dremel tool if you have a Dremel tool, but for this one I don't normally use it. I am just going to use a towel, because what this is going to do is just finish off the entire body and give any excess wax that could be onto the body from the previous colors or the previous Ultimate compounds and stuff. What we're going to do is put it on there. As you saw, I just put a bunch of drops onto the body, and we're using our towel, and we're just going to spread it onto the body very lightly. Put on a very light coat, and what basically we're going to do is wax on, wax off. So we're just putting it onto the body, spread it on evenly, and basically don't get too much. As you can here, I got a lot on here, so I am going to spread it out and take a lot of it off, because you don't want too much on there. But the bottle spit out, sometimes the bottle spit out too much, not a big deal. You can always take it off. So just get onto the body evenly, but let's sit on there for about a few seconds, like I'll say 30 seconds, 30, 40, maybe a minute if that, and then go ahead and just get a nice clean towel. In this case, I use the same towel, but make sure you do get another towel if it's not too dirty, and wax it off, and you're good to go. Now, if there are some spots that you can't really get to with your towel, of course, you can go ahead and use a Q-tip or a cotton swab. But there's the license plate frame and part of the rear windows, of course, inside the body as well, where you can't really get your towel to, and you can go ahead and just bip up the access with those stuff as well, and it'll be good as go. Towel, make sure you have a clean spot on your towel, or just get a new one whatsoever, and wipe off the excess wax. So now we're doing the wax off. So what this is going to do is result all the shine. It's going to give any kind of excess, wax that was left over from before. We can use a Dremel tool, and it's just going to give the ultimate shine, and this is basically the polish. So this is cool, and again, you can use a Dremel tool, but for this one, I prefer not to. I just better use a towel. It's just easier, and it's more quicker that way, and it gives about the same result as well. Now, if you're not doing any kind of wet sanding or polishing, I prefer you do this anyway, put on, wax off. The reason why is because when you are doing your final assembly onto the car, what the wax does, it basically helps it makes it easier to get your fingerprints off. So when you're done with the model and you're fully done with it, you can go ahead and get this towel again and wipe off your fingerprints, and the wax makes it much easier to do so. So that's why I prefer doing this anyway. But again, if you don't have any kind of waxing or anything like that, if your clear coat turned out perfect, put on a wax and wax off, because it's just going to prevent any kind of fingerprints, and it's going to make it much easier to bring it off as well with your towel. And there we have it, guys. That is how we wet sand and polish the model car body. As you see from this video, it turned out absolutely fantastic. No more pivots, no orange peel, no nothing, and we're good to go, and we got the ultimate shine. So hope this video helped you guys. Again, links down below to everything that I use, to the polishing compounds and my Dremel tool and the sponges that I use for my Dremel tool. But alright guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and until my next video, I'll catch you guys next time.